Oh, rickety, right. Let's get down and do what it do, baby. Oh, it feels good to be back at it, man. Jeez, let's go. What it do? What it do? What up? Welcome on back to the On Q Esports podcast, man. Episode number 5. We already done 4, now 5 of these things. Damn, that's crazy. That's crazy. But yo, I appreciate everyone coming in and kicking it with you, boy. Hopefully everyone's doing good, feeling good. Probably by the time most of y'all are going to be listening to this or watching this over on YouTube, it's going to be Friday, so happy Friday to y'all. For those of y'all who are tuning in while we're doing this thing live, what up? Happy Thursday. Hopefully everyone's doing good, feeling good, man. I'll tell you what, your boy's finally starting to feel human. Y'all might remember back on episode 4, it was the start of this week. Your boy still feeling a little bit under the weather, you know what I'm saying? But your boy's feeling good. We're feeling good, feeling great. Got a lot of things to look forward to as well. ALGS is on a break, which is honestly kind of nice. Gives me an excuse to be able to sleep on the weekends instead of staying up for APAC action. But our minor regions do have broadcasts back for RLCS, which is really, really cool. I don't remember if that was actually official by the time we recorded episode 4. I might have had news, but hadn't released it yet, or it had just became official. But we're officially back, man. We're going to be back over on the desk over there this weekend doing some English broadcasts in the newest region, the Sub-Saharan Africa region. We started over there for the Spring Invitational the Winter Invitational last year. And then we were back for the entirety of the Spring split over in SSA. I'm going to be excited to be back, man. A lot of good talent over there, man. Graybeard, who's the main host, super dope. They got a dope production team that works in the back. Blanket Reverse, they kill it, bro. It's honestly, the whole team that works over there, from the casters to the back end to the mods and everything. I can't wait to get back to it, man. Also, I love it because SSA has a really cool storyline right now with a lot of teams from different regions kind of trying to come over and kind of take opportunities, right? They're seeing that you can it's open enrollment, right? So people are trying to see if they can actually do that and go over there and get themselves some money. So can't blame them too much. It is the rules, I guess, after all. But I'll tell you what, man, I feel like it's going to be a fun week, especially Limitless. Limitless, the team that's been, rocking and rolling over there for some time. They get to, try and defend their region. Once again, they did it last week, or not last week, 2 weeks ago during the last event in event number 1. So, we'll see if they'll be able to do it again. Should be a lot of fun. Like I said, I had an absolute blast over there last year. Learned a lot, so it should be really, really fun. But you know what? Today's not about that. That's as much as it's cool. By the way, y'all should make sure you're tuning in. I'll have links in the over on Twitter the day of, and of course also in Discord. So feel free to check those out. Discord should be down in the descriptions, whether you're listening to this on a podcast platform or you're watching this over on YouTube. Also, if you're watching this over on YouTube, man, we're closing in on that 500 subs. Really appreciate y'all. If y'all can hit that subscribe button, turn those notifications on, leave those reviews as well if you're watching over on Spotify and stuff like that. All right, but we got a busy day today. I'm not going to be talking too much as far as ALGS just because there's not really a lot going on right now. We had a big old new season 20 that dropped. I do think there are some conversations to be had kind of revolving around season 20 and the changes that are going to be coming up, especially ALGS and competitive Apex because of that. I just don't think today's the day to have those conversations just because we have a pretty full plate otherwise, man, especially over in the world of RLCS. We've got Swiss bracket in pretty well every region, but EU starting up tomorrow on Friday. So probably by the day that most of y'all are watching this and listening to it, or if you're listening to it on release day anyways, most of y'all I know are going to be checking it on Friday. We're going to probably be dropping this later on Thursday. If you are watching on Thursday, it's going to be starting tomorrow. But yeah, so, we got to catch up on the boot camping discourse that we kind of saw throughout the course of the week over on Twitter. Kind of talk about the talent funnel that feels like it's kind of starting to happen. This little bottlenecking up at the top of NA, which I think is part of the reason that NA hasn't been able to close the gap. And actually, if anything, we're seeing EU's been able to widen that gap between the top teams in EU, especially the French teams, as opposed to the teams over in NA. And also, we've got VCT Kickoff starting this weekend. So we're going to be, I got the Pick'ems videos over on YouTube already. We're not going to be doing Pick'ems today. Definitely make sure you're checking out those Pick'ems videos, though. Do the YouTube things, help your boy out, you know what I'm saying? But we are going to be talking about some highlight matchups, probably a few matchups that your boy is going to be looking out for to potentially be doing some watch parties for as well, man. So, you know what? Let's go ahead and get down and do what it do. Episode number 5. For the OnCue Esports podcast. And with a lot going on in the RLCS world, let's go ahead and start over there, man. The NA regions predictions video is already up over on YouTube. Feel free to check that out. Let me know where where you think I'm right, where you think I'm wrong. I think when we talk about as far as the actual event itself, I think there are a few things that we can look forward to, at least in the first couple of rounds. I don't want to go over the pick'ems thing where it kind of shows what my suggested matchups are probably going to be based off the results. But I'm going to be excited to see if, one, just Akron University as a whole, but I do want to see if they can take a game or two off SSG, a team that seems to be doing pretty decent right now. I'm also going to be watching Deleted XD. I think their first round against Pirates on a Boat is going to tell us everything about whether or not Deleted XD has a chance of actually being able to qualify for a top 8 and only their second Swiss bracket in North America. I think G2 and Gen G both going to be pretty well as dominant as they've been, right, throughout the earlier events. Well, throughout the earlier qualifier, I guess we should say. I feel like the middle of the pack, though, is still very, very wide open. Don't be surprised if we have some of those teams that made top 8 don't make top 8 this time. Even maybe if we have some teams that didn't make top 16, somehow find a way in the top 8. I'm looking at teams like G Buffo, Omelet. I would say Delete XD, but they were in last time. But even Akron, man, I think if Akron gets hot and starts off with a really good game against, a really good series about SSG, even if they find a way to upset SSG, unfortunately with them upsetting SSG, it's probably going to be with them dropping some games. So they're probably going to have to go against the likes of a G2 or a Gen G in round number 2. But it could set them up for, kind of being able to ride the wave of momentum, right? So, unfortunately, that is going to mean for some teams, it's going to be 2 weeks of disappointing finishes if a lot of what I'm hoping for happens, right? We're looking at teams like TSMs, the OGs, teams that, I think had some expectations coming in, already missing in a top 8, looking at an NRG as well. You go out early yet again in top 8, man. I mean, you got to start wondering, when do we start seeing teams make changes? You don't have much time this year, right? After this weekend, you have 4 events left. You have 1 more for this split, and then you have 3 more events before the second major. You know what I mean? So, bruv. I feel like we talked about this a little bit on the debut podcast of The Meltdown over with Frost Esports. I was chatting with my brother from another Mama Llama. NA's in this very weird spot, right? Because in the past, NA has not necessarily made the moves on rosters as soon as they have. I feel like especially since the COVID bubble kind of started forming, right? You had a lot of players with really inflated salaries that were hard to move or move off of, which then just made other teams that when they did eventually pick them up after they got dropped or cut or whatever, they're having to pay, more inflated prices as well if they're wanting to pick up that sort of talent. It's tough because you've only had 2 events after this event, right? And you can, we can talk all we want about the wild, wild west that is open qualifiers. We even saw this time around in the double elimination portion, the last round. I mean, you had the Muffin Men falling in a game 5 to NRG. Young Whippersnappers in a game 5 to Incorrect. Shopify Rebellion got swept by TSM after they had a little bit of a lower bracket run. So, I mean, there's definitely teams that are, we know that with the new format, there is not so much, I think, of the teams at the top, right? Like your top 6, your top 8. I don't think there's a concern about them not making it. Although it isn't always it's always a chance, right? So I think there's always at least a minor concern. But when you talk about those teams behind there, you miss one top 16, even if you have a top 4 without getting, well, maybe not top 4, but then you have a top 8, right? Like the top 8 doesn't really matter because it's just basically balancing out the one top 16 you didn't make. So, yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's a tough format. I think this weekend's going to be a lot of fun. I also think when we kind of look across the board, I think one of the teams to really look out for, and I touched on this in my Pick'ems video, is Deleted XD. There was a lot of talk this past weekend because we saw Akron Zips, a full CRL team, qualify for a Sweet 16, a Swiss bracket, right? But Deleted XD is full of CRL teammates, or not teammates, but CRL players. Same way that Incorrect is, it's just split between two different teams. Deleted XD, they've been here. They looked pretty solid in number 1. I think they actually got knocked out, I think, in round 5, if I'm not mistaken, right? It was round 4. Okay, round 4. But I mean, they took TSM to 5. They took Muffin to 5. And then Snowman ended up, beating them in game 4 as well before they lost to Shopify. Or sorry, in series 4. But all their series went the distance. I feel like Deleted XD are a team, especially if they catch the momentum. That is one team that we have seen can hold the momentum. So if Deleted XD were to go on a run during Swiss, right? We oftentimes see where teams will go on a run in Swiss, and then all of a sudden they can't show up on Saturday and or Sunday, right? Whereas I do think from what we have seen on the bubble scene, granted, obviously bubble scene a little bit lower talent pool, but Deleted XD, this squad is the type of team that if they get hot, in the bubble scene, they can carry that momentum over a couple of different events, which is a prolonged period of time. So I think if Deleted XD gets hot in a Swiss bracket, and I mean, they're starting off against Pirates on a boat, so you're kind of already off to a good start there, right? Then you make sure you take a game or two off of what's more than likely going to be a Gen G or G2, just because I do think that Pirates on a boat series goes a long time, right? Then you're in a good spot for round 3 when you're in the 1-1 bracket. So I think Deleted XD is in a really, really good spot for them to be able to qualify for their first top 8. And then even on top of that, because they're a team that has that momentum, who knows what happens come Saturday or Sunday. I don't think they're a team that's going to win an event. I don't think they've got, man, I don't know, man. When they're hot, they look really, really good though. I'll say this. I think they'll have to catch, a top 4 team on their off day and still be playing their best game, but I think it's possible. Really going to be rooting for the squad over at Deleted XD, man. They're a good crew over there, man. From the top down, we've gotten to work with that squad from working, in the bubble scene a little bit, the way that we do as far as casting. Would love to see the Deleted XD squad kind of start to pick up some momentum, especially knowing that you have just one more event left heading into the major. You get 4 spots. Deleted XD, let's say they finish top 8. There are some new faces, and then they finish top 4. That might just be enough for them to be in contention for that last spot, depending on, what the rest of the playoff field this time around and next LAN around go as well, right? Let's say, especially if the CRL talent across the board, from Incorrect, University of Akron, let's say if a couple of them qualify, kind of really bust up some brackets, and then maybe they get, paired against one of them or something somehow because they did well, Deleted XD maybe gets through in the 4th round. I don't know, man. I'm telling you. I think I've got a good feeling about Deleted XD and qualifier number 2. So I can't wait to see it happen. But if there's one thing that we do know from what the past has shown us is even no matter what, how good the North American qualifier number 2 looks, it's going to be hard, I think, for fans who watch multiple regions, or at least watch the major regions being, North America and EU, particularly the French. But NA hasn't been able to close the gap. And there's been a lot of discussion across a couple of different podcasts, whether it's the Chalkcast podcast or First Touch, about like why that is or why that seems to be the issue. And I have a couple of theories. One of which we'll leave for the end because I think it does lead into a whole other topic that we'll talk about. But I think part of it is talking about these teams that are filled with CRL players that are making enough noise that they can get together and go on a run against teams that have veteran players and be able to perform better. So when you look at, and let's just say, for instance, because I do think the Elite XD are a team that can go far in this qualifier too, right? Let's go back to Double Elim and look at teams, I don't know, like a Shopify Rebellion that lost to TSM, has Parth, Two Piece, and Justin. All veteran players, or at least players that have quite a bit of experience under their belt. But if you look at, say, Elite XD, any of these CRL players, or even a Wavy from TSM, man, who's playing alongside players who have played in CRL, right? But why aren't we seeing the young, up-and-coming talent not really getting picked up by teams that have veterans? The closest that we've had recently is Pirates on a Boat, and I think we can all agree that Pirates on a Boat have looked pretty good. Obviously, it's a newer team altogether, but you take a player like Andy who has their background, Eris as well, and then a newer player like 5UP who's really only just been working through the bubble scene, right? A young up-and-comer, 17 years old, younger kid. And all of a sudden, this team catches fire. I feel like it. I don't know if ego would be the word. I do think that culture would definitely be a good word to use, and I think the word culture gets thrown out very loosely when we talk about environmental sort of things and similarities within a region and stuff like that. But I think when you look at the culture of NA, even when you look at the new players, like the new talent that did get signed this year on some of the teams, it's like they're people who played and ranked with other pros, right? And like they get like that personal vouch, which moves them up in the the discords for six mans. I don't know, man. I feel like if there was something in place, like, Valorant has like the premier thing where but that requires a team. And I don't even know if it's necessarily you need a team for Rocket League, but some sort of like advanced ranked mode. Maybe where you can only solo queue. So it more emphasizes your ability to be able to adapt to your teammates as well as to be able to have your solo play and have that lead to then getting opportunities. I don't know what it is, because I feel like when you look at EU, it's not an issue, right? You look over at EU and they have Zen, who gets picked up, got banned because was playing tournaments underaged, was probably part of the reason that they changed the rules this year, because then Zen turns 15, goes on the spring mammoth run over in EU, like the best region in the world, caps it off with a championship at the end as well. I mean, you could say the same thing in Mino. You got like the twins who get picked up and start making noise, and have even since switched, teams as the duo because teams believe in investing in the younger talent. I don't know, man. It just seems like there is something that makes it very, very hard about standing out, or at least maybe not so much standing out, but getting the opportunities. And I don't know what the change has to be, but it does feel like, it has to be a cultural thing, because it seems to be something that's an issue most predominantly in North America. I don't know. You guys let me know what you think. Feel free to let me know down those comments below. But I think, especially because of the COVID bubble that formed, caused this inflation. So then teams aren't making roster changes. So there are people who get left around in the league for longer. And there's this whole like, oh, well, we got to at least, try, give them their due diligence because they're an OG or whatever, right? It's like this whole weird backwards mentality. You could even say, like, I don't know if it pairs with the whole boot camping discussion that we saw over the course of this week. And if you guys didn't see it, there was a bunch of tweets kind of talking about how, and I'll be honest, I never noticed this, but talking about how you see a lot of EU teams boot camping during the events. And it's not really the case so much in North America. And it's funny. It's something that I've never really noticed until it got pointed out. And then I'm like, man, you watch the EU broadcast and like every one of the teams is playing together in a room, whether it's lit up, whether it's dark, but like you can tell they're in the same area. They're surrounded by their teammates and their coach, probably have more staff in the area as well. And EUs, I mean, really kind of benefiting, man. We're seeing EUs playing at the highest of levels when it comes to Rocket League, man. Honestly, if you did not get a chance to watch Championship Sunday from the EU qualifier, like go back and watch it. I didn't get to catch it live because I was out celebrating the birthday with the family, man. But I got to go back and watch the VOD. And I don't know if when we talk about a top four, a day of top four, a final four on a regional event, I don't think there's ever been a full like back-to-back 3 solid matchups like that. I mean, 2 game 7s in the semifinals, and then a banger of a grand final, even though it was only 6 games for 6. So obviously, there's a lot that EU is doing right. I think boot camping has to do a lot with it. I think what's interesting when you look at the boot camping discussion, though, I think because of the fact that you have a lot of younger players, boot camping not as much of a possibility, right? I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I know when I was that age, when I was 16, 17, 18, 19, I wasn't able to like quit going to school for like a month and a half at a time, right? So when you look at teams like Pirates on a Boat, Deleted XD, Incorrect, even Omelet, Akron University, TSM, like you can understand why they're not boot camping. But then when I do look at teams like a Dignitas, even like a Space Station Gaming, like an OG that has 3 pros, or like pros that have been around for a while, right? Like, why aren't you boot camping? G2, right? Although G2 cleared the region, so can you really talk? Right? Gen G, are they able to put up a better fight if they're boot camping? I think there's a lot of questions. And I think when you look at the attitude in North America, it seems to reflect the results a little bit. And I'm not sure that's a chicken or the egg sort of thing, where the attitudes kind of come from results of getting your butt whooped from EU, for a little bit now. But I do think something's got to change. I think teams that can boot camp definitely should be boot camping. I think are really missing out on an opportunity if they're not boot camping. But let's see. Yeah, I mean, let's take a quick wrap around the other regions here real quick. MENA should be to what, top 8? Not quite the top 8. They're still working their way through Swiss bracket. However, we'll see that Rule 1 and Falcons are the first 2 teams that are in. It feels like in MENA, as long as those 2 teams are on the opposite side of bracket from one another, those 2 teams will end up facing off against one another in the grand finals, I think. Don't be surprised to see Rule 1 and Team Falcons go back to kind of flip-flop back and forth on the results. It's interesting. Like Rule 1 has like a lot of the old Falcons roster, kind of the more veteran team. Team Falcons has some of the younger talent. I think I do have to lean towards Team Falcons, though, and that's also including this weekend. Twisted Minds, one of the teams that you could see normally does pretty decent. Also a team that could make some noise. But even these other teams at the top, I mean, there's some new names this time around that I don't remember seeing last time. So Mina seeing some shakeup potentially. Let's go look at kind of our Pacific region real quick. Over in APAC. I mean, can you bet against Elevate? Maybe Gaiman Gladiators look decent. But I mean, I feel like Elevate there, right? Sub-Saharan Africa, I think it's pretty well limitless. I think Orgless also could look. Honestly, these top 4 teams here, Limitless, Orgless, Shmongolia, and Bonjour, all should be really fun to watch. And even these bottom 4 here on the top half, although I think we see some imports within there. But I think the story should be good in SSA to watch. I'm going to be kind of excited to see how Swiss breaks down tomorrow. Oceania, do we think anyone takes down Power? That's going to be the real question. We saw Quick Trip Gaming, Quick Trip Pioneers be able to get to the grand finals last time around. There they are. They're here. Looks like they've pretty well swept their way through top 48 double elim. I would imagine they did so the rounds before that as well. I feel like our top 4 will probably be down to like Power, Quick Trip Pioneers Gaming. Probably Kaka's Minions and Ground Zero Gaming. Gremlin's just outside of it. I think Quick Trip might actually be able to pull this one out. I would love to see the Pioneers be able to win that one. Sam has been really fun to watch. Because of the fact that you got Complexity and Furia back in the region, on top of the teams, like Crew, Secret, NIP, teams that we've seen in the region in the past, Sam's been really fun to watch. It feels like it's still going to be Complexity's tournament to lose. I just think they look really, really good right now. But Furia looks like they're not too far behind them, to be honest. That'll be another good grand final that we'll probably see ran back once again. And then Europe's a week behind because they're good. So I think that's all we hit every region? Yeah, we hit every region. Let me know if there's any of those picks that you guys think are go the opposite way for some of those grand finals and some of the other regions. Feel free to let me know down in the comments in your reviews or whatnot there. But look, man, it's about 30 minutes of Rocket League. I don't want to take too much more of y'all's time, especially talking RLCS. Of course, our whole idea of the OnQ Esports podcast is kind of wrap around some of the esports. As I said earlier, we're not going to talk too much ALGS. Also, I want to start aiming to get these podcasts down around under an hour. So let's do a quick kind of a quick look around VCT kickoffs. All right. I should have probably warned y'all who are watching that there was a flashbang coming. My bad. We did our pick'ems already for NA and Pacific. Going to be doing our pick'ems for EMEA. Maybe tomorrow, potentially. I got to figure out when I record that. I don't think I'm going to do China for the first land up to Madrid. I think I want to try and take some time to see if I can catch some live footage. I just admittedly was not going to watch the expedited Chinese the Chinese ascension and all that, especially not knowing there's no English coverage or nothing, right? So I'll try and get caught up there, but there's no sense in me just basically guessing based off of numbers. You know what I mean? I like to at least be able to watch through the other region. Your boys watched a little bit of every region. Your boy watch parties a little bit of every region, which we'll be doing again this year. So feel free if that's something that you want to do, especially if you're watching on YouTube currently, feel free to hit that subscribe button so you can come back for those watch parties for the kickoff over the weekend. This weekend might be a little tough, just as far as the opening weekend, because of SSA broadcast. But we'll definitely be able to tune into some stuff during the week, kind of as stuff breaks down, right? and through the rest of the event, because next weekend is only EU main event. So, but I think when we look at opening matchups, man, I'm not really excited about either Group A. When we talk about NRG versus Furia, Cloud9 versus MIBR, I think both of those wouldn't be surprised if they end up rather quick. Maybe Furia comes out and surprises us a little bit and is able to catch off NRG, who, you know, just recently was able to put their roster together thanks to the whole EG debacle. I do think, though, the winners match in Group A, which is the 23rd, so next week. I guess there aren't games during the week. It's just the weekends, aren't they? I'm an idiot. But the winners match in Group A should be really fun to watch, and that will probably be NRG versus Cloud9. What I would really like to do is watch. I would love to watch both of the matches on the 17th on Saturday. And there's a good chance that I will. I just got to make sure that I'm done with the desk for SSA. But both of these games are going to be good, man. I know a lot of people are sipping the juice, you know, feeling really good about Sentinels and their off-season changes. I can't say I blame them. Can't say I blame them, right? I know a lot of people like the John QT pickup. The Zelsis pickup. I don't know, man. I feel like otherwise this is still a lot of the roster that kind of underperformed last year, right? Yeah, I don't know, man. I feel like this Sentinels roster, as good as the potential could be, we know there's consistency from the Loud squad, right? Yeah, you lose Aspas. And the people who will tell you that will say that the only reason that Ye didn't perform versus DSG because they weren't with players that set them up. So is the great players like Aspas only as good as they are because they have people setting them up, or is it because they're that good, right? I feel like sometimes we see Valorant fans try and have both sides of that argument. I think that there's going to be enough consistency returning for Loud. Plus, you got Sadek, you know, leading the charge. I don't see why this Sentinels team wouldn't be able to pull out the dub. Or not the Sentinels team, this Loud team wouldn't be able to pull out the dub. But maybe I'm wrong. We'll find out on Saturday, 5 p.m. Eastern time as that matchup kicks off. And then the following matchup should be an absolute banger. We get to see Leviathan, the newest iteration of Leviathan, versus 100 Thieves. Group B, bro, is just a blessing. We get to see so much good action. I can't wait. Going to be a lot of fun, man. Do I want to watch Crew versus G2? No. Will I? Probably. I don't know, man. It's at 5 p.m. on Sunday. I feel like G2 should clear Crew, honestly. If I'm being real, I think G2 wins Group C. And don't be surprised if Crew ends up upsetting EG in the decider match. Just because EG hasn't had the time to put things together. Let's not forget that this is the same EG team, and the returning pieces are the team that knows that they can have a slow start, and then they can still piece things together and go on a run. So, yeah, I think G2 wins out of Group C. I don't know, man. Pacific is the other one that starts at the same time. EMEA and China both start a little bit later. I feel like Group A is going to be a lot of fun. I think Zeta Division and Global Esports is going to give us a lot more of a banger of a matchup than people are expecting. I think Global Esports is better than a lot of people are giving them credit for, which is so weird because then in the same group, everyone's like super hyping up Bleed, which like I know they looked good in Ascension, but since when do we let Ascension teams get all this hype going into preseason? Is it just because they picked up Ye? Is that what we're still doing? Because Ye was once good back in 2022? because Ye at one time was seen as like the best player in the world, and because, hey, it looks like Chamber's going to be back hard meta, and that was what Ye had to crutch on in order to be good. He's going to be great once again, and over with Bleed, adding him to that roster should make it fire. Is that what we're really going with? Like, we haven't seen time and time again where you put together star-studded players, but because one of them happens to have an issue with drama, it just causes the whole roster to fall apart, and we're just going to lead into this whole season on Bleed and have no concerns. Is that what we're really doing? Acting like this is supposed to be Ye coming back like Michael Jordan wearing the 4-5. Like we didn't just see Ye come back with DSG and look like MJ in Washington. Acting like this iteration of Ye with Bleed might not be MJ, coming back wearing the 4-5, but might be the MJ that's wearing the black and white, playing for the Barons. That Michael Jordan? I don't know, man. I'm not buying the hype. Maybe I'm someone that gets turned into a meme because I've been off the Ye train for so long, and I am just so tired of people still living on this hype that has not been lived up. He couldn't even get his in challengers, dog. And now you want me to believe he's going to go over to Pacific, which just might be the most mechanical region. Maybe not the best team play region, but mechanically gifted teams. He might even be playing initiator for Bleed. And you want me to tell me that Ye is going to be a difference maker? Come on. I don't know, man. I don't think I'm living in that reality. I think T1 beats Bleed. I think the second spot really is up for debate in Group A. As much as I just hated on Bleed, they might make it through on the bottom half. You'll have to tune into my pick'ems to see which way I went as far as Group A. Group B, I think you look at it, you know what the two teams are that are going to be advancing. It's DRX and Team Secret. The only question is in which order, right? DRX, I think clears DFM. DFM is going to have another rough season. I think they're going to look better than last year, but the question becomes next weekend, how does the Team Secret DRX matchup go? And how does DRX look now that they don't have to worry about a rotating 6-man roster? I think they look better. Might take a little time to get cooking, but you got the DFM roster to at least be able to get, your boots on the ground and start running. So I think DRX is going to be all right. And then in Group C, I'm a high believer on Genji. I don't know about you guys. But I think when you look at the Genji squad, which is basically what the old Crazy Raccoon squad, right? For the most part. Plus Karen. No, I guess that's not the old Crazy Raccoon squad. Regardless, I do think they made some decent pickups. They looked decent in the off season. I thought they looked solid in Convergence. They finished 4th in Pacific League last year. I think Genji is at least the second team out. I just don't think that RRQ is going to be able to beat them. I don't think RRQ beats PRX as much as some other podcasts and stuff that I've watched do have RRQ kind of maybe breaking out during kickoff. I just don't see it. Hard for me to see that, honestly. I don't know why. But this weekend should be a lot of fun, man. We got, like I said, more kickoffs going on as well. We've got EMEA. When does EMEA start? Is that what's going on during the week? Yeah, it's on the 20th. So that's what's going on during the week is EMEA in China. I haven't done pick'ems for EMEA yet. That should be going up over the weekend, so feel free to keep an eye out for that up over on the YouTube. I feel like kickoff is going to tell us a lot about the middle of the pack. I think the top of the groups go the way that you expect them to. Fnatic clears, Navi clears, Foot Esports clears. But this is where we're going to get to kind of see, what Carmine Corp's all about. I think Group C is going to be fun. This first matchup, Vitality versus Gentlemates, Going to be so much fun to watch. It's the week before TEC starts up, so I think we should be able to watch that one. Should be a banger of a matchup. And I think Giants versus Carmine Corp tells us a lot as well. That's on the 20th, so that's on Tuesday. Because what? Gentlemates and Carmine Corp, or not Gentlemates, Giants and Carmine Corp. I think Giants has a lot of question marks. I think Carmine Corp has the potential, but still has a lot of question marks as well. So I think a game that will tell us a lot, probably a lot negative towards one, positive towards the other. Although who knows? Maybe it's a barn burner or a matchup, and we feel positive about Giants and Carmine Corp heading out of that. I do think Group C in EMEA probably has the 2 seed that ends up advancing to top 4, right? Whether it's Team Vitality or Gentlemates. I just see them over any of those 6 teams. You know what I mean? Heretics, Giants, Carmine Corp, BBL, Team Liquid, Koi. I just don't see a world right now where Team Vitality or Gentlemates can't clear those 6 other players. Or 6 other teams, right? So, that'll probably be our top 4 over there. Foot, Navi, Fnatic, Gentlemates, or Vitality. I tend to think that it will probably be Vitality. But I could be wrong. But I don't think I'm like excited about any of the Group B matchups. I think the 2 matchups that I'm most excited for over the course of next week would be Vitality, which is Wednesday. So we'll watch party that. That looks like that's at 2. And probably the Giants Carmine Corp game as well. That's on Tuesday. So don't be surprised if we pop up some watch parties for those 2 days. And then, like I said, China, man, I'm not going to really talk about predictions too much because I don't know. I think Group C is going to give us the most fun games. I think the Billy Wolf game, I might try and catch. That's an 8 o'clock game. I might try and watch party even that as well. I think that'll be that's kind of going to be dependent on how these 2 games go of when that starts. But I think that'll be fun. And then probably the Trace FPX game. That's going to be the winner's match, though. So that'll be next week. But I think that'll also be a banger. But I don't know much about China, man. I think EDG is really the only name to be like super concerned about right now. But you know, we know that Billy Gaming was the second team that got to go over for champions. So yeah, we'll see. I feel like the China project, even though they had to have the accelerated off season, I still think it's really good for the expansion of the league. So I'm excited to kind of see how VCT China goes. I don't know anything about it. I'm not gonna lie to y'all, so we ain't gonna talk heavy on it. I am gonna try and watch some of it though, because it seems like it should be really, really, really exciting. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, we got a busy weekend ahead. Like I said, we're not going to talk about ALGS today. That actually might kind of wrap things up as far as this episode, man. We're at the 45-ish minute mark. You know what I mean? I don't want to go too heavy over that hour mark, especially because I think we are going to start adding in next week, adding in interviews onto our Thursday portion. So I want to make sure that we're leaving time for that as well, so we're not going too far over our time. You know what I'm saying? But definitely be on the lookout that next week we'll try and break down a little bit of ALGS. Maybe I'll try and see if we can chat with Dia and maybe brainstorm a little bit. Maybe Dia and Tiff even. See if we can brainstorm, you know, kind of what some things that we're expecting with the upcoming season. We'll see. Or maybe I'll holler at Gaskin. Maybe we can talk with both. I don't know. But yeah, man, I appreciate y'all coming through and hanging out with your boy. If you're watching this over on YouTube, do me a favor again. Make sure you hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, turn those notifications on, tell somebody about. We're closing in on 500 subs, man. That's where we can get our memberships and stuff. kind of have some things for while we're going live, a little bit of extra bonus features. Then we'll just have to chase down that 1,000 for partnership, man. So appreciate y'all. Y'all are amazing. Make sure y'all are coming over and watching SSA over on the African Gaming channel. I'll have that linked down in the description below. All right. It starts at 9:30. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, I believe. All 3 days. I think it starts at 9:30. Might start at 10 Eastern on the weekend. I'll double check that. Make sure you're keeping an eye out for the videos, man. I feel like we're doing a really good job of getting the videos going. I do want to make sure I'm getting a little bit better as far as on the shorts side of things. Let me know how you guys are feeling about the shorts. I feel like doing the shorts with the talking points is kind of the route that I do want to go. I know they're not necessarily getting the hits that I would like just quite yet, but I think as we build the brand, they will. So let me know your thoughts on that. Otherwise, man, I'm going to get on up out of here. Y'all have a great weekend. We'll be back next week with episode 6 on Monday. All right, y'all. Y'all are freaking amazing. Till we catch y'all back over here for the next episode. Don't forget, man, with everything crazy going on in the world today, be true, be you, be sincere, game hard and love hard. All right, y'all. It's your boy Q, signing out.